Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Today I have a video which I have been thinking about doing for a very long time. I'm pregnant. We're expecting our first baby. I'm so excited. It's just been a crazy few months. Absolutely wild. It's been absolutely wild. So I announced it on my Instagram about like a few days ago, and I thought I would do like a catch up, life update, talk about my first trimester. Towards the end of this video I'm gonna do a Q&A. I was actually gonna do the Q&A in a separate video, but now I'm like, let's just do it all in one, get it all over and done with. I'm gonna try and keep this video short, but I already know it's probably gonna be at least 20 minutes. It's going to be at least 20 minutes long. When I upload this, it'll be evening time in the UK, so grab yourself a cup of tea, a snack, hot chocolate, some wine. You can enjoy it for me as well. So I want to say thank you so much to everybody that has congratulated us, that has sent us kind messages. Just thank you so much. Like you, like the kindness. That you guys, I'm honestly speechless. The first part of this video, I thought I would go through me finding out that I was pregnant and the kind of story behind that, and then I'll tell you guys the symptoms until my second trimester, which is 12 weeks, and then the end of the video I'll do a Q&A. So let's start off with how I found out that I'm pregnant. I am someone who is very in tune with my body. I'm just very in tune with my body. I know when something's not right. I know when something doesn't feel right or different. So yeah, I'm very in tune with my body. I know when something's not right, and I just felt weird. In my opinion, everybody has an intuition, and I just had an intuition that something wasn't right. I was feeling really ill, a bit nasally. I don't know if I was coughing, but I just felt really ill. And this was around January time, like end of January, beginning of February. I just was feeling a little bit ill. We'd just come back from our ski trip. I feel like there was a lot going on. Like, ski trips are so exhausting, not relaxing at all. So I thought maybe I'm just tired from that. I was just feeling really run down. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I have a pack of these Amazon pregnancy sticks. They're like a pack of 20. They're really cheap pregnancy sticks, which I just keep in the house just in case. And whenever I'm not feeling right, it sounds really weird, but if there's an occasion where I know I'm going to be drinking a lot, like I'm going out for bottomless brunch or anything like that, I always do a pregnancy test, and I don't know why I do that. I'm just scared. Like, imagine, I just hate the thought of being pregnant and not knowing, and then just going on a big bender and then finding out. That would be horrible. I've had these Amazon pregnancy tests just in a drawer for just in case moments for about a year. I just felt a bit off. I wasn't quite sure where I was in my cycle, but there was just something inside of me that was like, just do a test, rule it out, and you'll be fine. Anyway, I did a test and it had the faintest of line. It was so faint. And I was like, it's never looked like this before, but maybe I did it and just left it to dry for too long, because you're supposed to only read it within the first 10 minutes, I think. So maybe I just did it and didn't read it correctly. I left it for too long, it dried out, and then now it's got this very faint line. I didn't really think much of it. I think I waited another 3 days. I did another test in 3 days. The line got stronger, and I was like, what's going on here? So when that second Amazon strip test came back looking kind of positive, I was like, do you know what? Let's just rule it out. Let's just nip it in the bud, and let's go to Boots and get a pregnancy test, like a proper pregnancy test, which it was a clear blue test, and I just wanted one that said pregnant, not pregnant. I was like, I'm not even going to get the ones that give you the lines, because you can read, I feel like you can interpret these lines very differently. I'm not somebody who's really been in a position where I've actually thought I was pregnant, so I was just worried that I wasn't going to be able to read it properly. And again, I had the issues with the Amazon one, so I was like, let me just get one that says pregnant, not pregnant. So I drove to the shops, picked up a test, came back home. It was around the afternoon time. I picked up one of those tests which are like 6 days early because I just didn't know where I was. I didn't know whether I was like very close to expecting my period or far away. Yeah, even though my periods are very regular, I don't really track them like that. I got one of these clear blue pregnancy tests that says pregnant, not pregnant. Did the test, waited 2 minutes, flipped it around and it said pregnant. And I was like, whoa. Honestly, I was speechless. I was completely speechless. And the funny thing is, I actually filmed my reaction to doing the test because I'd already had these 2 kind of positive tests with the Amazon strips. I was like, I'm just gonna film it because you just never know, because it's looking like I am pregnant, but I don't think I am, and I could just be reading these tests wrong. So anyway, I did actually film my reaction. I don't think I'll ever share that video on the internet. I don't know. I might share it one day on a like TikTok or something like that. If there's anywhere where I would share that, it would probably be TikTok. Anyway, flipped the thingy, and I think within 2 minutes it said pregnant. I was fully expecting it not to say pregnant because I actually got one of those tests which had 2 in there. Because I did it in the afternoon, it says if you're testing just before your period, then you should test first thing in the morning. So I thought, well, all the hormones are not going to be that strong, so it's probably going to come back negative, but I'll do it again in the morning. It came back positive, and here we are. So that's how I found out. I was completely shocked. I think I just sat in the bathroom for like, I don't know how long. I just sat in my bathroom for so long and just a million things was going on in my head. I came back to my office and I just sat, I think I did a little bit of work just to like distract myself. And then about 20 minutes later, I called Jack into the office and told him. So yeah, that is how I found out that I was pregnant. Let's go into the second part of the video and then I'll answer more questions towards the end. I'm going to break down the symptoms which I've had up until 12 weeks into like 4-week increments. Some of them are not, but anyway, I'll just tell you the weeks as I go. So from 4 to 6 weeks, literally all of the symptoms that you get are like you're expecting your cycle. I had sore breaths, I had a cold, I felt like ill, like sniffly and like tired, and I don't think I had a cough, but I was sneezing. All the symptoms of a cold I had, but again, I found out at the beginning of the year, which is winter for us, and those kind of symptoms are normal during that time of the year. A lot of people's immune systems are down during that time of the year. But yeah, I had a cold, I was really tired, I had light cramps, and I had like acne build up, like spots starting to come through. But basically all of the symptoms that you get are exactly the same as what you would get when you're expecting your period. Like even the cramps, I mean, I'm still getting the cramps now. I'm like, oh, might get my period. I'm not gonna get my period. But they literally feel exactly the same, which is so confusing. I'd missed my period, which is uncommon. I have had a period every single month. That was a huge sign for me, was not having my period. I'm very, like every month I get it. They're not always the same date, but they're around the same-ish dates. And the fact that I missed my period, I was like, it's real. Even after I'd had the pregnancy test, like even after I tested positive, the fact that I didn't have my cycle was like a huge sign. Between 5 and 8 weeks, again, the sore breasts continued. I started getting mild food aversions now and mild nausea. When I say mild, I really do mean mild. I have been so lucky in this pregnancy that I have not had any of the symptoms that you normally associate with pregnancy. So morning sickness, food aversions, nausea, all that kind of thing, I have not had. Now, I'm so lucky to not have that because I honestly couldn't imagine having that and how horrible I would feel. So I was very lucky that I had mild food aversions, mild nausea. Now, obviously, those symptoms are horrible, but in the same way, I got to the 8-week point and I was like, I've not had any of these symptoms. Like, what's going on? It's real. Am I actually really pregnant? So it kind of mentally worked against me in the sense that I was then worried. I was like, well, women usually get those symptoms, and those symptoms are usually a positive sign that your hormone levels are increasing, and I'm not having those symptoms. So does that mean that my hormones are increasing? Does that mean that something's not right and this baby's not producing, this pregnancy is not producing the right hormones? So I literally just worried the whole time, because I was like, this person or that person says that they're having this, and I literally feel normal. I'm happy that I didn't have the nausea and the aversions, but also those symptoms are a positive sign, and I didn't have them, which made me feel like something's not right. So I talked about acne. I had a horrific breakout. I mean, I'm being dramatic here. I had a really bad acne breakout that I'm actually still recovering from the scars, and it was exclusively on one cheek. Now, when I break out, I'm a forehead breakout kind of gal. I break out a lot on my forehead. That's normal for me. Cheek breaks out, not so normal for me. So I knew that was to do with the pregnancy. I specifically broke out on one cheek alone. I literally had like 8 spots on one cheek, and it was like, I was so confused. I was like, why this one cheek? Like, what is going on? But towards 8 week, the spots kind of slowed down, less were coming through. I was still getting them, but definitely less were coming through. And yeah, they still were just on one cheek, which was odd. Bloating. Oh my goodness, the bloating is bad. Like, I was 8 weeks pregnant looking 16 weeks pregnant, because my belly was just so big. It was so uncomfortable. I felt so uncomfortable. I just felt so uncomfortable. I didn't feel like myself. Yeah, another quite gross symptom. This video is definitely giving me TMI. I mean, when is a pregnancy video not TMI? But another quite gross symptom was constipation. I can't believe I'm talking about bowel movements on the internet, but yeah, that's a real thing. Like, yeah. And obviously that wasn't helping with the bloating. It was getting me down. I called my GP and they managed to give me some stuff to kind of help, but the constipation was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. It was bad. It was so bad. Like, I just felt so tired and heavy and just horrible from that. But huge tip that honestly has saved my stomach, I'm being dramatic again, is prune juice. If you've not heard of using prune juice as a remedy for constipation, then honestly, it will save your life. I discovered this through TikTok. Honestly, TikTok is just my favourite thing. It's one of my favourite things. I love reading through, I love watching pregnancy related content and reading through people's comments. And prune juice, if you're experiencing constipation, pregnant, not pregnant, highly recommend it. And then a huge symptom that I started to experience was the insomnia. Pregnancy insomnia is really bad. Now, I'm now in my second trimester, and I kind of went through a time where I wasn't really experiencing insomnia, but the insomnia is back even now. But between 8 and 14 weeks, no, between 4 and 14 weeks, the insomnia was just ruining my life. It doesn't matter whether I go to bed at 10 p.m. or 1 a.m. I'm going to be getting up between 3:30 and 4:30. It would always be the same time every single day. I would wake up and it's just horrible. Like, I just could not sleep. I was so tired from not sleeping, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know why. I don't know what it was or what was going on in my body that caused this, but the insomnia was horrific. It was so bad. Like, just imagine going 14 weeks without sleeping properly. Like, literally getting 4 hours of sleep. I was also struggling to nap. I've got better at that now, but I was also struggling to nap. So throughout the day, I would just be running off like a few hours of sleep. I was so tired. The vivid dreams were also just wild. Okay, 9 to 12 weeks, I started feeling hunger, like extreme hunger. And even now, I'm so hungry all of the time. I'll eat breakfast at 7:30, but by like 9:30, 10, I'm absolutely starving. Like absolutely starving. And it's a hunger where it's like, imagine presenting a toddler or like a baby, that you're feeding it something new. Let's say something with a lot of sugar. Have you watched those videos like on TikTok or Instagram where a baby is introduced to something really sweet, they try a little bit and then they like it so much that they just stuff it in their mouth? That is how my hunger felt. It felt like I was hungry and then I would just get so extremely hungry, and because my hunger was so extreme, in my opinion, that it would also make me feel ill, like nauseous, if I didn't eat straight away. If I was at home, obviously I would be fine, but if I was out and about, I'd be looking around like at a shop, like I need to eat something, and I must get something down me. Thirsty, I was also really thirsty, constantly needed a wee, which also didn't help with the waking up. I would wake up at least once every night, probably twice every night, to go for a wee. Another thing which I've noticed as well is that I'll go for a wee, like with a full bladder, literally 10 minutes later, go for a wee, I'm thinking a little bit's gonna come out, no, full bladder again. It's crazy, honestly, it's the weirdest thing ever. Night sweats as well, I started getting night sweats, so that which would also wake me up because I'm like, I'm so hot. And some of the things which I craved and also didn't like, so let's start off with the things which just I didn't want to eat anymore, wasn't interested in. But I wouldn't call them like food aversions, I just call them just things which just didn't fancy anymore, which I used to like before. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke, and for some reason I haven't touched Diet Coke for nearly 5 months. Yeah, it's just the thought of it, the thought of drinking it, the thought of just the thought of Diet Coke is just so off-putting. Another thing which I used to love and like I'm just not that bothered about anymore is chocolate. That I do still eat chocolate now, but I have to stick to specific brands. I think early on in my pregnancy I must have had chocolate which wasn't like typical British formulas of chocolate. I feel like every country has its own formula to chocolate. Like when you go abroad, one of my favourite things is trying chocolate from different countries. Like I've tried like Hershey's chocolate, which is American, and that tastes so different to anything I've had in the UK or Europe. You know, if you go to Belgium, chocolate tastes different. I can only have chocolate from the UK now, because if the chocolate has not enough cocoa and a lot of like milkiness to it, so off-putting. I've just got back into eating chocolate regularly because I'm obsessed with eating chocolate, but I can only stick to certain brands, because if I get the wrong one, and if I get the wrong one, it's just not a great experience. However, one thing that I'm very grateful for that I've been craving is a lot of juicy, fruity things. I have a huge sweet tooth. I mainly crave sweet things, although I've got into more savoury things a little bit more than I would, but still I have a huge sweet tooth that give me chocolate, give me fruit, and just I grew up eating a lot of fruit, and I've just kept that habit up throughout my adulthood. I just been craving really juicy fruit. So for instance, melons, I love honeydew melons, those are my favourites. I love pears, you know, like when pears get really juicy when you're eating it and it's just, yeah, all of that, I love that. What else have I been craving? Mangoes more than ever. I love a good mango. Like, you know, the other day I was in town, I think it was yesterday actually, I was in town, starting to feel the hunger, and I was like, I need to eat something healthy, and I just went to M&S and got a pot of mangoes, and that just did the trick. Mangoes more than often, just more fruit, which I'm really grateful for, that I'm actually craving a lot of healthy things. Then unhealthy things, very lucky for that. And I think as we get to summer, I naturally eat a more healthy diet towards in summer anyway, so hopefully that's going to continue. The only unhealthy thing which I am obsessed with is chicken selects with barbecue dip and chips, fries. That is like my one thing that I don't know why, it's like the food that makes me feel like, you know, when you put it in your mouth, you're like it's that food. hits every single spot. It's like savoury, and the barbecue dip is sweet, and chicken selects with barbecue dip. I could eat them. I could eat a whole bucket of that. I always liked that before pregnancy, but during pregnancy, honestly, like when I'm out and about, I'll find any excuse to drive to McDonald's to treat myself to that. Editing Josephine here. I forgot to mention a couple more things which I just can't really stand eating. One of them is runny eggs. I've always had a bit of a natural aversion to runny eggs, but this has definitely grown. Just seeing anybody cut open eggs, honestly, oh gosh, I have to switch it off. I have to run away. Poached eggs have been probably my strongest aversion. I can't believe I actually forgot to mention this. The smell of poached eggs, the smell of like poached egg water, oh my god. Another thing which I've not been that keen on is surprisingly crackers, because I know a lot of women love eating crackers because it's quite a plain food, but I don't know what it is. Crackers, they've not been agreeing with me, and I used to love them. Other than that, my diet has pretty much stuck the same, so I'm very, very lucky for that. I think those are pretty much my symptoms. I've been very selective about the kind of content which I have been consuming, because I just can't deal with, I'm going through this and I don't want to hear anything negative. Like, I want to hear people's experience, and you know, obviously people's experiences can be good, can be bad, but it's just hard. Like, I haven't been watching people's birth stories, for instance, because I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna have to do it at some point, so I don't want you to put me off. Overall, my symptoms, my experience of the first trimester was positive. Obviously I had symptoms, I had things, you know, I definitely had things which were different. I exercised regularly, but I felt great during the first trimester. I'm not even gonna lie about it. I'm so sorry if that upsets some people. I'm so sorry if that upsets anybody, but I felt great. Second trimester, however, is a completely different story. Get into that in another video, because a lot of people talk about second trimester being so good, yet that's when you get your energy back. Really? Before I answer the questions, let me talk about our 12-week scan. We had our 12-week scan when I thought I was 10 weeks and 6 days. I don't know what was going on. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I've not had a great experience when it comes to organising and getting things going. Obviously, when I found out I was pregnant, I called my doctors. They told me to fill out a thing on the internet called, they told me to go on a website called Pregnancy Notes. I filled out the whole thing over there, but then my doctors basically refused to give me a midwife because I wasn't giving birth to a hospital that they have a midwife for. They didn't even, they were so unhelpful. I really don't like my local doctors. Where I lived before, I had the best doctors ever, but now, where we now live, just the doctors, it's not even the doctors, it's the receptionist, to be honest. My beef is with her. She basically just told me that I couldn't get a midwife, and even now, I'm nearly 5 months, I've not met a midwife. I still haven't seen a midwife, which might be shocking for some people, and to be honest, I'm just not happy with the whole experience, but that's a whole other thing. I am seeing a midwife, but that's going to be when I'm like nearly 6 months, which is crazy to go 6 months throughout your pregnancy and not seeing a single midwife. I mean local midwife. I've had all of my appointments at the hospital because thankfully they were a little bit more helpful. You know, the minute I went in for my 12-week scan, I told them, you're actually the first person I've seen. I mean, I'm nearly 11 weeks and you're the first person I've seen. My doctors won't see me. They just keep fobbing me off, giving me numbers that are not working. They told me immediately to go downstairs to the antenatal area, and they did a mini booking appointment with me. So that was really good. The hospital have actually been really, really good, and I've had all of my appointments there. I've had my appointments at 2 different hospitals, but within one city. I had my 12-week scan, which was at 10 weeks and 6 days, and that went completely well. It went absolutely fine. We couldn't hear the heartbeat because they don't do that. but because you have to wait until 15 weeks to have that, so we couldn't hear the heartbeat, which was a little bit annoying. But yeah, we saw the baby and we have the picture. I'm not going to share the ultrasound, I don't know why, I just feel really protective. The baby was just so cute. It had the most beautiful little profile ever, very pronounced jaw, very pronounced feature. Its head was massive, but you expect his head was massive, but you would expect that because you know the proportions of their bodies aren't quite right. It was magical. It was honestly incredible. Then I found out at that scan that I was actually further along than I thought I was. So I was 11 weeks and 3 days instead of 10 weeks and 6 days. These things sound really, if you're not pregnant, then you're going to be like, well, what does that change? But it made such a huge impact because we were a little bit further along. It meant that we could do the full, like, all of the checks. If I was actually where I thought I was, then they couldn't do certain checks, because in pregnancy everything is week by week, because a lot changes every single week. A lot changes every single day. Like one day my belly button was in, now my belly button is out, and I'm like, whoa, when did this happen? So I asked you all on Instagram to ask me some questions. I just put up a question box. Of course, if you have any further questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to do a second part or answer some more questions in my second trimester video. But you guys are so sweet, honestly. Just the amount of congratulations and kind messages was so sweet. I had quite a lot of questions asking if the baby was planned. I'm sure you can guess from the beginning of the video that the baby was not planned, but it has been the best surprise ever. Like, ever. I could not be happier. I'm so content with life. I'm so happy. Happy doesn't even really explain how I feel. Someone asked, did you film how you found out you were pregnant? Yes, I did. That video, honestly, my eyes are going like this. Like, you can just tell I have a million things in my head. I did film it. I'm not sure if I'm going to share it. I might do, but we'll see. Will you be finding out the gender? No, we will not be. No, we will not be finding out the gender. So we actually have our final scan, which on the NHS you only get 2 scans. You know, that's fine. We can obviously do a private scan later on. I really want to do a 3D private scan. I might do that just to see the baby for the final time before it's here. So obviously, you know, me and Jack have spoke about children throughout our relationship. It's something that we both really wanted. We never knew when the right time would be, but we always agreed on the fact that we would never find out the gender, at least for the first baby. We don't know for future babies, it might be different, but for this pregnancy we knew for sure that we were not going to find out. I literally could not imagine, I couldn't imagine anything more exciting than when I give birth and the baby's here and they're like, it's a boy, it's a girl. I honestly feel like that'll be, like, even thinking about it tears me up. It literally tears me up. And also, I'm not that bothered about doing like gender reveal parties and stuff like that. I'm not that bothered about doing a baby shower, things like that. Just, I'm not really that interested in. My friends are trying to convince me to do a baby shower, but I don't want to, I'm not interested. I might do something low key, but we're not really that bothered about finding out the gender. We just feel like it would be so much more exciting for the baby to be here and for them to announce who they are when they are here and what gender they are when they're here. And I just couldn't imagine anything more exciting for us personally. I cannot wait for that moment. Even thinking about that moment just makes me so emotional. Oh my god, I'm actually getting really emotional. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Oh, it's 11:11. Let me make a wish. But yeah, I couldn't imagine anything more exciting than that. We're very happy with either. Like, very happy with either. We're just so grateful to be in this position, and I'm just so excited to be a mum. Oh my god, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so excited to be a mum. I can't believe I'm going to be someone's mum and, you know, be responsible for them. Like me. But this is what pregnancy does to you. You get all emotional for no reason. Well, for a reason. Anyway, how will this affect the wedding day? So our wedding was always going to be in 2024. We always planned it that way. And yeah. So nothing's changed. Baby will be here for the wedding, which I just think is going to be so sweet. But either way, because we're having a destination wedding, we couldn't get legally married in the venue that we're having our wedding at. So we always plan to have the legal wedding in the UK. So to get legally married, we need to do it in the UK. And we're doing that this year. So I'm not going to give dates, but it's very soon. It's very soon. I've been planning it since the end of last year. Beginning of this year. I can't remember. I've been planning it for a while. And we're doing something really small, just with family. We're planning on doing that this year, which I'm very, very excited about. I'm actually going to go pick up our wedding bands after this video, so that's exciting. But yeah, in terms of the actual wedding, in terms of the actual destination wedding, nothing changes. We're just going to have a baby there now. Somebody asked me, which I think is a really good question, is did you feel ready to have a baby? It's something I'm struggling with at the moment. And obviously that's such a personal thing, and I've already explained that this pregnancy wasn't planned. But I think some of the most important things when it comes to thinking whether you're ready to have a baby is obviously having that conversation with your partner. Is that something you both want? When do you want that? A time? Because obviously, you know, human biology is human biology, and you know, pregnancy. How do I put this into words? Becoming pregnant has really opened my eyes to different people's experiences. We've had a positive experience overall. That isn't always the case for everybody, and becoming pregnant, I've become so much more aware. I'm not going to say knowledgeable, because I'm not even going to go that far, but I've become so much more aware of different people's experiences. And why am I getting emotional about that? I don't know. But yeah, I've become so much more aware of different people's experiences. So biology obviously comes into effect. So obviously time, you know, women have a biological clock, so that's something that you should consider. But having that initial conversation with your partner, all of this is in my opinion, being in a relationship which would support children and would support a healthy family unit I think is the number one most important thing. Is this something that you want? Is this something that you guys, you know, are you in a good enough relationship? Because you know, even though the baby's not here yet, I'm fully aware that things are going to change. Things are hopefully going to change in a positive way, but things are just going to change. You know, there's now going to be 3 of us, whereas both Jack and I have always just thought of each other or ourselves. Having a healthy, loving relationship is probably the number one most important thing. Finances, making sure that you can afford a baby, everything that involves having a child. Like, you know, very early on in the pregnancy, we went into Mamas and Papas and other pregnancy shops, other baby shops, and like pregnancy departments in shops like John Lewis, and things are so expensive. Like a buggy is like £1,000. I never knew that a buggy was £1,000. I had no interest in looking at buggies before becoming pregnant. That's so much money. Baby clothes obviously cost a lot of money. Having a nursery, creating a nursery, decorating the room, buying a crib, all the different expenses that involve before the baby's in here is a huge thing. And then after, you know, you have them for like 18 years, but forever. These are human beings that are going to be here, and like, you know, it's a human being that's going to be here in your life forever. So finances is probably the second most important thing. I'd probably say those are the 2 things which really come into mind. There's obviously a million different things that come into play which make you feel ready. I also think that women, you have that thing in you where you just feel like you're ready, like it's just something that you're ready for. So do you have that natural intuition? I'm very much a person who believes in intuition and really likes to tune into how I'm feeling. It's such a personal feeling. You know, there's women who just never feel ready and it's something that they don't want. Which is, you know, it's a great world that we live in, that women can make these choices for themselves. I think it's a really, really personal decision, and it's not something that anybody could make for you, but there's definitely practical things that you can think about when it comes to deciding whether this is the next chapter in your life. A lot of questions that I've had is, how did you hide it so well? I think I hid it very well until maybe like 14 weeks, and then 14 weeks I would film a video and I'd be like, yeah, I look pregnant. Or I would take a picture and be like, yeah, I look pregnant. Yeah, look, I look it. And there's actually, it's funny because the one video which a few people have told me they also thought I was pregnant. So the one reel was that one where I did the t-shirt and the jeans video and I changed just like 5 different outfits. It was like a spring video. And I uploaded that knowing full well I was like, I look pregnant in this, but I'm just going to upload it. I'm not ready to announce, but I'm just going to upload it. And that's funnily enough the one where a lot of people be like, funnily enough, it's the one video where people have been like, yeah, I knew you were pregnant from that video. I just think something changes. Like, I've been hungry. I've been eating a lot. I've naturally gained weight. I feel like my face, I mean, it hasn't really changed, but I look at myself and I can notice little things which are like, that's different. But yeah, I've hidden it so well by just angling the camera and making sure that I'm posing in a certain way which doesn't show it. I only started telling friends about 2 weeks ago, and I was so excited to tell my friends. Like, I finally had that feeling where I was like, I'm ready to share with people. And a few of my friends also do Instagram, and I would go shoot with them and I'd be like, can you make sure that I don't look pregnant? So they kind of helped me with that as well. That kind of goes into another question which I've had a lot is, people were shocked when I told them that I was nearly 5 months. And why I was really apprehensive about sharing it. I can't fully explain why I haven't been that excited about sharing it with people. We told our family at around 12 weeks, so we already waited 3 months to share it with our family, which a lot of people just share these things straight away, but I am very much a person who, if I'm going through a hard time, I don't really want to be around people. I don't really want people to ask me questions. I just want to deal with my issue alone. It's something that I have to work on. But it really makes sense when I look back at myself and just how I've coped with different situations in life. But I'm not the kind of person who wants to be around people or wants people asking me and checking up on me if I'm not feeling great, if I'm being completely honest. So the first 12 weeks felt like the first kind of milestone where it felt safe and real. And that there's something really there. So I felt safe enough to at least tell family, because at least if I told them, then, you know, it wasn't that many people, so it felt safe telling them, because I really did want to keep it as private and low-key as possible. And I am of the belief that you tell one person, expect them to tell 2 people, and then those people tell another 2 people, and that's how things spread. I know that my family won't tell anybody. Yeah, I started telling friends at around 17 weeks, and I waited that long just because, again, I just wanted to feel more reassured that this was real and it was actually really happening. Again, I felt more safe with the pregnancy, like hopefully nothing's going to go wrong, knock on wood. So yeah, it's just when I felt happy and like comfortable and safe enough to tell people. And by safe, I mean safe that nothing was going to go wrong. But yeah, I hid it for a while, and I mean, sharing it on Instagram, that was even a huge thing. It was actually Jack who was like, you need to just tell people. And I kid you not, I would have been like, no, next week. And then next week would have been the week after. And then the week after would have been like the week. And then I would have been like 7 months pregnant, coming on here and being like, hi guys, I'm pregnant. So even waiting like nearly 5 months has been such a long time. Like, I've known about this pregnancy for so long. Like, we celebrated, you know, Mother's Day together, and that was so weird, you know, having Mother's Day together. You know, just all those different things that we've been doing in the background that you guys had no clue about. And I loved being in that bubble. I absolutely loved it just being our thing. I also feel a bit weird about sharing the baby when it arrives. I don't want to go too much into it, but I do feel a bit not sure about that. A lot of people have asked when I'm due. I'm due in October. I'm obviously not going to share the date, but we are due in October. So, which seems really far away, but you know, June is next month, like in literally a few days. So we're already halfway through the year, so October will come by really, really quick. A lot of people are excited for me to share pregnancy fashion content, and honestly, that's been a struggle in itself. I have, like, you'll see this in the following vlog, but I have I've just put into storage all of my jeans. Like, literally every single pair of actually, I've kept one because I bought that the other day, well, a couple of weeks ago, and it fit a couple of weeks ago, but a lot changed in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if it's going to fit if I try it on now. But I did buy my first pair of pregnancy jeans from H&M. They are the only jeans which fit. Everything else is so tight and uncomfortable, and I've just given up on jeans. I'm also slowly giving up on trousers as well, but again, in the vlog which is going to be coming up next, I have actually picked up a couple of pairs of trousers which do work, but I'm glad that I'm going to be pregnant in summer, because then I can just wear flowy dresses, comfortable things, and just feel lightweight. I mean, the only downside of being pregnant in summer is that if we have another 40-degree heat wave, I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah, I think that is everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've been so nervous about posting it. Now I need to edit it, which is going to take me so long because this video is 50 minutes long. So it's going to be a long video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you've got questions, or if there's any kind of specific content you'd like to see from me. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for the kind messages, and I will catch you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye!